You know the name, Jeffrey Epstein. You definitely know the crimes. But what if this story we've all been told, the one about a monstrous predator who just used his money to slip through the cracks? What if that's only half the truth? What if the real story is so much darker?
This one sentence, this right here, this was allegedly said by the very prosecutor who gave Epstein a deal so good it was almost unbelievable, and it just blows the whole case wide open. Suddenly, this isn't a story about Wall Street and private islands anymore. It's about the shadowy world of international spies.
So that's the real question, isn't it? How did he get away with it for so long? Was it really just about money and powerful friends? Or was something else, something much bigger, protecting him? Well, that's what we're going to dig into, using the evidence that has slowly, and very reluctantly, seen the light of day.
To really get the mystery, we have to start with the man everyone thought they knew.
Look, the story you hear everywhere is pretty straightforward. He was this financial genius who preyed on young women. And look, that is horrifically true. But it completely ignores the other side of his life, a side where he was brokering international surveillance deals and hanging out with world leaders.
And at the dead center of his whole criminal enterprise was a place that became infamous worldwide for its corruption and secrecy: Little St. James.
On the surface, it looked like paradise. A 70-acre private island. Sun, luxury villas, turquoise water, a perfect getaway for the rich and powerful. Total privacy.
But the survivors, they tell a totally different story. For them, it was a prison. They said their passports were taken the moment they arrived. They were completely cut off from the world. For the young women trafficked there, this paradise was nothing but a cage. Now this is where it gets just bizarre. What investigators found on that island after he died reads like something out of a movie. Get this, a weird temple-like building with a lock on the outside. Grotesque masks on the walls, maybe for high-profile guests to disguise themselves. A chalkboard in the library with names, blacked out by the government. An old phone with redacted names on speed dial. And in the very bedroom where assaults happened, a blindfold and a flashlight, just left on the nightstand.
The strangeness of that island is one thing, but the so-called justice he got, that might be even stranger. To understand how he got away with it, you have to look at his first big case.
Okay, so just follow this timeline. It all starts in 2005 with one complaint. That blows up into a massive FBI investigation that finds dozens of victims. By 2007, federal prosecutors have a rock-solid 56-page indictment ready to go. They have everything they need to bring his whole network down. And then? Nothing. They just don't. The prosecutor, Alex Acosta, swoops in and offers a deal that shuts the entire federal case down.
The federal government was ready to hit him with 32 counts. We're talking a huge conspiracy, including sex trafficking of minors across state lines.
And what did he actually plead guilty to? Two minor state charges. He gets 13 months in jail, but with work release 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. All his co-conspirators, they get total immunity. For life. The deal was so ridiculously lenient, they call it the sweetheart deal.
So you have to ask yourself, how in the world does that happen? Years later, the official explanation was just poor judgment. But a Justice Department report found something incredible. For the exact time period this deal was being made, all of lead prosecutor Alex Acosta's incoming emails are just missing, gone. The government's excuse? A server migration.
And this is where the story takes a huge turn. We go from baffling incompetence to a potential conspiracy. Was there another reason for that sweetheart deal? We come right back to this quote. Years later, when Acosta was being considered for a cabinet position, this was supposedly his explanation. He was told to back off. Why? Because Epstein belonged to intelligence. So, whose intelligence are we talking about? Well, Epstein knew a lot of powerful people, but one relationship stands out. Ehud Barak. We're talking about a former prime minister of Israel, a former defense minister, and even the former head of military intelligence. And from what we can see in newly released documents, they weren't just buddies. They were deep business partners working for the Israeli state. And this table really shows you what they were up to. This wasn't finance. Together, they were brokering deals to sell advanced Israeli surveillance technology to foreign governments. Epstein was the guy making the connections, linking Israeli intelligence with leaders in the Ivory Coast, Mongolia, and Nigeria. He was helping sell systems for mass government surveillance.
And let's be totally clear about what a signals intelligence package is. It is a complete spying machine.
It lets a government listen to everything. Phone calls, internet traffic, you name it. This is the kind of tech Epstein was helping sell for Israel.
Now, this is a really critical distinction to make. Epstein wasn't some agent in a trench coat taking orders. He didn't have to be. He was a high-level asset. He was a powerful player who could skip all the bureaucracy and work directly with the guys in charge, like Ehud Barak. The spies probably worked for him, not the other way around.
So, when you start putting all these pieces together, the official story really starts to fall apart. On one side, you've got the story we're told, a lone wolf predator who's just too rich and connected to get caught. But on the other side, well, the evidence seems to point to something way more disturbing, a protected intelligence asset, someone whose horrific crimes were allowed to continue, maybe even shielded, because he was useful to a foreign country. And yeah, we've seen millions of pages of documents come out, but so much of the real story is still hidden behind black bars. Key names, key dates, key details, all redacted. The names on that island chalkboard, the numbers on his speed dial, all blacked out by the very government that says it's being transparent. It just leaves us with the same questions we started with, but now they feel so much heavier. Were his crimes just a sick hobby that his power allowed, or was his criminal network itself a tool, a source of blackmail and influence that serves some other hidden purpose?
We might never get the whole truth, but one thing seems pretty clear. The most important parts of Jeffrey Epstein's story are the parts that are still being deliberately hidden from us.